Hi. So, I have my IB, part 1 of my IB IB psych exam tomorrow. And I know nothing. I'm not going to be able to pass. Kind of already accepted my fate, but I still have to, like, try or whatever. And I decided I'd just do some last minute studying. Someone kill me. I don't really know what I'm doing, and I lose motivation. Please turn on really easily. So I decided I might as well, like, film myself or whatever doing it, because then maybe that'll keep me motivated. I don't fucking know. I was too lazy to even clean off my desk enough to have room, or my room, because my room needs to be cleaned and vacuumed and all that. Like, my desk is a mess, my room is a mess. I've got a shit ton of dirty laundry back there, because I didn't put away my laundry, so stuff in my laundry basket's clean, everything behind it is dirty. I don't know, man. I've kind of given up on the thought of passing it, but, like, I don't want to be too negative, because apparently that's supposed to, like, affect your chances, self-fulfilling prophecy and all that. So yeah. I swear, my wrist must have shrunk or something, because this is big on me now. I love my psych teacher, don't get me wrong, but I love the content we learned about, don't get me wrong, but I have a shitty memory. He's so helpful, my psych teacher. He really is. He passed out these little, this is the sociocultural review guide. I actually filled this one out more than some of the others, although most of it is blank. Like, explain how belonging to social groups can influence behavior. That's the SAQ prompt, because I think I'm going to have either 2 or 3 SAQs, and then either 1 or 2 ERQs, and not a lot of time, and I don't get any notes or anything, which, anytime I don't have notes, I fail. And then, so, important content and details. So, social identity theory is always, important in groups, out groups. So, the study I put in, like, the study thing was Tajifel. Don't know how to say it. And how that study connects to content is social comparison. But that was all using my notes, and even then, like, a lot of the time I didn't finish these. So, I think I'm going to go through my studies of, like, and just talk about them, because apparently talking about them out loud is supposed to help memory. And then I'm going to go over, sorry, I got a notification. I'm going to go over my, like, notes and stuff, but it's just going to essentially end up just describing the studies. Ampress sheets that we have. Ampress sheets, by the way, are just, like, you put the name of the study at the top, and then it's aim, method, procedure, results, conclusions, evaluation. So, do I get into it? Do I use some type of order? I don't know. I feel like I should probably finish filling these out, but also, because a lot of them are. I don't actually know which ones I'm missing. That's the thing. And I know I'm missing some, because we're supposed to have 32 of these. Maybe I'll start with the 2 I know best and tell you. And those would be McGuire and Ejanskaan, and those are about neuroplasticity. I'm really hoping I get, and like neural pruning and all that. I'm really hoping that I get that for ERQ, because if I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, that's the one ERQ I think I'd actually be able to write decently. So, Ejanskaan is the juggler study. Essentially, Ejanskaan is the name. It was done in, I don't remember what. I'm going to put this back here so I don't look at it yet. So essentially what they did is they took I don't remember how many participants, but I'm pretty sure it was an even number, and they split them into 2 groups. They taught one group, they took fMRIs of them, so they got their brain scans of both groups. Then they taught one group how to juggle, and they didn't teach the other group, and they, like, paired off each from one group, so, like, one juggler, one non, one juggler, one non, you know, all like that. And then what they did, they let them go. They're like, go chill, jugglers, once you think you have mastered juggling. Like, once you've gotten really fucking good at it, come back. And so they took another fMRI, and so, like, every time one of the jugglers was like, oh, I'm done, them and their partner that was assigned them, the non-juggler, went and they got an fMRI. Okay, and then the jugglers were told, hey, go back, but do not juggle again. And for, like, a set amount of time, and then come back after a set amount of time with the non-juggling partner. But I'm pretty sure it was 2 months, not positive. And then they came back and they got another fMRI, and like, just to see what happened. And so what did happen was, who the fuck? Like, really bad. What the results showed is that when learning to juggle, they had increased gray matter in the brain from learning something. Still low. And then when they stopped juggling, they stopped using that skill, that gray matter reduced, but not completely. So say there was, like, I'm sure it wasn't, there was this much gray matter, okay? When they didn't know how to juggle, they learned there was this much. And then when they stopped using that skill, there was this much. So there was more at the end than there was at the beginning, but because they stopped using that skill, it did reduce, not completely to the point it was before. So that's like neuroplasticity. Like, when you learn something, it like, neurons are firing and connecting. Neural arborization. They arborize. So they connect and they fire and they're, like, communicating. And then neural pruning is when you, like, when you forget something or whatever, or that, like, isn't being used, they just, like, disconnect. It's like pruning. Like pruning a tree. It's just like, you're not useful, you dead branch that's not being used. I'm going to cut you off. So, let me check that. That's this. So, it was done in 2004. It was 24 non-jugglers. Between 20 to 24, there was 21 females and 3 males. It wasn't an fMRI, it was an MRI. Yeah. So, it was 3 months. Actually, so my evaluations were essentially, there was more women than men. The amount of people was pretty decent, like, it was pretty high. The time was the evaluation, like, because maybe after 6 months, it had completely gone back down, to where it was, like, the gray matter was before, and then age, maybe 20 to 24-year-olds, their gray matter sticks around for a different amount of time than other people. I don't know. The next study I'm going to be talking about is, it's this one right here. It's called McGuire. It's another one that's about neuroplasticity. I'm so fucking hoping that we get one about neuroplasticity, or I swear to God, I'm done. Like, anyways, so the McGuire study. It's also known as the taxi driver study. They took a bunch of taxi drivers and non-taxi drivers, I'm pretty sure, and then they mapped, like, their brains to see increased, like, gray matter from memory, because taxi drivers, they gotta remember where they're going, how to get there, what street leads where, how fast it's gonna take to get somewhere, and all that. So it was trying to figure out, like, localization of function, where, Costello, don't lick your paws, where memory is located, and if, like, neuroplasticity, like, does your brain actually get bigger from having to memorize this for taxi drivers for their job. I don't remember what much else, but yeah, it was done during 2000. The aim was to find out if it was possible for the brain to adapt itself according to to the circumstances, in this case to navigate, so it was a natural experience conducted in everyday life. So it was using an MRI again, so maybe if there's questions about MRIs, like, what's one thing used? Like, what's one, technique used to study the brain? I can be like, oh, MRI, here's my 2 studies that have MRIs, Ejanskaan and McGuire. I'm so hoping I can use Ejanskaan and McGuire more than once. They took a structural MRI of in the McGuire of the brain, and then it measured the structure of the brain and like the locations of things in the brain. And so they measured the volume of the brain and the size done by an experienced observer of like the taxi drivers and the non. And so essentially the results were that the taxi drivers had increased gray matter and a significantly larger volume in one part of the hippocampus, and the results of the experience, like of this experiment, could be used to mean stroke patients, victims of brain damage, etc., could, depending on circumstances, recover to live a normal life. The strengths were experienced observer, references, limitations, only males, and only certain area of the brain. And this was done in, I'm pretty sure, London? Some European thing. So that's McGuire and Ejanskaan, and they show neuroplasticity, neural arborization, and neural pruning. Yeah. Can't believe I spent 13 fucking minutes on this. When I tell you, so at the beginning of the year, my notes were so good. Like, when I tell you, so good. Like, the lessons, this was one lesson. Like, 4 pages, then one lesson, highlighted, annotated, all that. Then as I go, mine was a little shorter, okay? There's less of them. Maybe I have them. And then, eventually, when you go to, that's what I went. I need that. Write a literature today. There's nothing written. I didn't take notes. I couldn't focus. Like, when I tell you senioritis is a real thing, and it genuinely makes me want to kill myself whenever I think about doing work. I did draw that, though. It's not even really good. It literally just says, rainbow, sun, barrels, grapevines. I'm pretty sure I was listening to Too Sweet by Who's Hearing This, so I was, like, thinking of what an artist on me, because I could, like, paint, like, represent that song. I don't fucking know. Now, what next? What? So this is, I think, what I filled out the most, is the bio review guide. I think I filled out almost all of it. McGuire's on here. Let me count. McGuire, 1, 2, 3, 4 times. That's not actually that many. Ejanskaan is 1, 2, 3. Also 4 times. Okay. But so the biological unit, I'm a little bit more confident just because I have Ejanskaan and McGuire. And I don't remember which one's the Bobodol experiment. They really shouldn't have given us names for these because like there's one that they just for the first like half an hour learning it, they called it the Bobodol experiment without telling us the actual name, and now I have no idea what the fuck the actual name is. Is it Bouchard? No, it's not me, that's for sure. Look how many studies this is. And this isn't even all of them, and a lot of these aren't finished, and these are back from them. Where's the Bobodol? Because I actually want to talk about that one. Fisher and Brown, Crockett, Brown and Kulik, Sher et al., Gottman and Levinson, Gottman and Levinson part 2, another Gottman and Levinson, Lanzer and Kunis, blank, Loftus and Palmer, another Loftus and Palmer, Fincham, Graham and Connolly, Barry with an E, Barry with an A, Roman and Holtzworth Monroe, don't remember that one, Bouchard, didn't fill that one out, Kaminsky, Adler and Oppenheimer, Becara, Knapp, didn't fill that one out, Darley and Gross, Hamilton and Gifford, Tajifel, Cialdini, something like that, Levine, Buss, She, Hamilton and Gifford. And that's not even all of them, because I don't have all of them, and I don't remember which the other ones are. I don't remember which one's the Bobodol experiment either, so I'm not going to be talking about that, because I don't have the thing for it. I can tell you what I remember. Essentially, they took a bunch of kids, and they put them in this room, 3 different rooms, to be exact. They took 3 groups of kids, put them in 3 rooms, like little kids, and then they had this big old Bobo doll, okay? They just called it a fucking Bobo doll. I'm assuming it's just some giant doll. And then there were 3 different instructors, and they went in, and these were groups of girls and guys mixed together, and they went in, and they did one of 3 things. They either played very nicely with the Bobo doll, having little tea parties, or just hanging out with it. They verbally abused it. They were like, oh, you're stupid and mean and ugly, dumb and doll. Or they beat the shit out of the fucking doll. And then they took these kids individually, every single one, and they had, like, recorded what group they were in, what the person did, blah, 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 blah. They put them in a room with the Bobo doll, and they saw how they acted towards it. And what they found was that first of all, that girls identified more strongly with whatever, like, the female instructor did, same vice versa with guys, and guys instructors, whatever. But if they were in a group where the instructor was nice to the doll, the girls and guys were more likely to be nice to the doll. The guys were generally a little bit more aggressive for some reason, just throughout. If they were in one where they verbally abused the doll, the girls were actually more likely to be, like, extra aggressive when verbally abusing the doll. But both girls and guys verbally abused this fucking doll. And then with the physical abuse, the guys were definitely a lot more likely to be extra physically abusive towards that doll, but the girls were still physically abusive. And remember, these are, like, little kids, and this is they're placed in this room, and they see an adult beating up a doll, and so they probably in their mind are thinking, okay, that's what I'm supposed to do, all right, they're showing me what to do, I see, you know? Yeah.
Costello.
Don't lick your paws. Anyways, I'm gonna just choose one of these and talk about it. And well, how's that supposed to be my fault? That's not my fault. I have not done that. Don't even. Do you hear him? Look at that sass. Promise, I love you, but I can't. I'm supposed to be studying right now. I love you too, but baby, I can't skip tomorrow. I have my IP exam. Oh, I'm sorry. I love you. No. I'm sorry. Bye-bye. I know I don't normally. I came home earlier than normal because I skipped video game club. Okay, I gotta go back to not listening to you now. Boop. He's a cutie. Barry with an A. Okay, I'm gonna try and remember which one this is without looking. Without looking. Barry with an A. That was, I'm pretty sure, a sociocultural one. That involved, like, children. I know it had children. Was that the child? I think that was the child training one, where they were trying to see, like, how different ways that you raised a child would affect how they learn. And I'm pretty sure that was collectivist versus individualistic. So, like, individualistic is, like, think hunting, right? Think, like, hunting versus farming, okay? Hunting is more individualistic because if you make a mistake, there's going to be another animal, right? Whereas with, like, farming, it's more collectivist and you have to gotta follow the rules and work together and blah, 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 blah. We love each other, we're friends and family, or we have to get along to survive, because if you make a mistake when farming, generally, oh, by the way, all our crops are now dead for the rest of the year and we're going to all die from starvation because little Timmy over there didn't follow what his mother said. Okay. But that's all I really remember. Berry et al., 1959, to investigate the effects of different child training practices on behavior. I was right. So, they identified types of child training practices from around the world, measured from 46 societies, used existing data to categorize societies as high food accumulating or low food accumulating. I'm pretty sure that ties in with individualistic versus collectivist. I couldn't tell you how. So essentially the results, yeah. So high food accumulation, think collectivist. Child training practices of obedience and responsibility. Low food accumulation, think individualistic and hunting. Child training practices of self-reliance, achievement, and independence. So agricultural societies focus on obedience because if kids don't follow rules and norms, they're jeopardizing food supplies, as I said earlier. Hunting-gathering societies focus on achievement and innovation, as there's no need to think about long-term consequences because there's going to be another animal, you're going to find another fucking mushroom. Things like that, okay? The evaluation on this one is temporal validity may be low since their study was done so long ago and the cultures may have shifted since then. The evaluation isn't too important on SAQs, which is the short answer questions. Those are the short ones. It's because you don't actually have to mention that, but you do have to write a whole paragraph about it. Per each study you have to use in the ERQs, which is where you have to use 2 studies. It's fucking a bitch, and I don't have a long time to write these. So bury with an E, why not? To find out if different parenting and socialization strategies affect actual behavior, 2 different groups in each culture, try to modernize. I didn't write very much on this one, so I could not tell you about that. That's that. I have no idea how I'm supposed to remember all of these and be able to think, remember which is which, remember the name, the date, the process, the exact result, who was involved. Like, I don't know how I'm supposed to remember all of this, because for every single study, go into this fucking IB exam, sit there, be able to remember all that in an hour and a fucking half about, and then write fucking essays about it. And not short essays either, and not like bland essays either. And it's not like, I really wish it was more like an AP Lit exam, because then, like, they give you some type of fucking prompt, right? Other than just, hey, so, like, describe one ethical consideration in the study of the brain and behavior. Okay, fine. Except for you have to follow the exact format. You have to mention studies. You have to describe what the studies did, how they did it, when they did it, who they did it, and then you have to tie that back in with, like, a very specific paragraph, and then you gotta go into the whole ethical consideration, and then bring up another fucking study. Like, why is one study not fucking enough? Kaminsky was the twin study, epigenetics, I'm pretty sure monozygotic twins. They were seeing the differences in how stress, because there's twins, right? And one twin was, I think, a reporter for the war in like some war area, and the other was a lawyer. And they were seeing the differences of how stress affected them, and they found that somehow the lawyer was more anxious and more stressed than the war reporter for some reason. Okay. Let's get the epigenetic and phenotype difference between monozygotic twins, cognitive personality genetic and epigenetic test, DNA was extracted, data from the test were compared. So, results, conclusions. So the epigenetics led to a difference in the DLX1 gene, and this difference helped the war twin handle stress better. And this difference made the law twin more risk adverse for some reason. And that was just because the DLX1 gene methylated differently. This was done in 2008. It's called Kaminsky et al. I'm really hoping I don't get that one, just because I don't know. Other than, like, if it asks me a question directly about epigenetics, you know, Bouchard, I have literally nothing written. I'm so helpful and I'm such a good student. Let's see what's next. Nap. Nap at all. Nap was it one of the stress ones? The stress and marriage communication ones? Was it? Oh, let's find out. Okay. Between acculturation, mental health, and treatment. No. It was one of the fucking acculturation ones. If I get a question about that, I'm screwed. I'm done for. Kill me now. I'm dropping out of high school. There's no point, you know, like. I'm so tired, you guys. Should I just take a nap? Ha, nap. I'm so funny. What's wrong about that? Nap was, so acculturation is, I'm not actually fucking know. We'll put this aside for now, go back to it later. I'll be sure. I think we already did. Boop. I'm pretty sure there's more than one Hamilton and Gifford in here. I learned Oppenheimer. This was the font one. So it just was literally just about how font affects thinking. So like, essentially they found that if you put something in a harder font, people are like, in a test, people are more likely to do better on it because they've got to stop and read the question more thoroughly. So participants were asked to complete a cognitive reflections test, which measures whether people use fast or slow thinking to answer a question. One half were given the test in an easy-to-read font, and the other half were given in hard-to-read. Each person completed their test, and then the researchers measured the results. So of the easy-to-read test, 10% answered all correctly. Of the hard-to-read, 65 answered all correctly. Cognitive demand can impact the system of thinking we used. When participants had easy font, they read fast and used System 1 thinking. So there's two different types of thinking, System 1 and System 2. System 1 is like unconscious, react, reflexes, what's 1 + 1, 2, like it's just you're not thinking about it. You don't have to stop and think and use your brain. It just does it automatically for you. Like when you're just like unconsciously breathing and someone doesn't go, "Are you breathing correctly right now? Does your skin feel right? Your tongue, where is it in your mouth?" When someone doesn't do that and you don't have that reaction, then I probably just caused you and I caused myself. Why the fuck did I do that? I don't know. I need water. I have a penis straw. I got it. It's literally just a fucking straw shaped like the end is like a penis, and then you just suck on the tip to get the water out. And I do bring it to school every day. My friends love it. They use it all the time. Practicing for their boyfriends, am I right? What was I saying? System 2 is stop, think, conscious. You know, like when someone asks you a difficult question, you have to stop and think about it, or you're assessing risks. That is System 2. Yeah. That was that. What's on the back? Bakara. So this ties in with System 1 and 2. So there's this thing, it's the veheminim prefrontal cortex, the VM something something something. I will check back later. But essentially what they did is they took, and so there's something, I think it's the Idaho or Iowa something experiment, all right? And essentially there's 4 decks of cards, and 2 of the decks are low risk, low reward, 2 are high risk, high reward. And they took 2 groups of patients. One group had damage to their veheminim, and the other group that was just fine, normal, no damage. And what they found was that, get comfy, Bubba's, we're going to be in for a while. He's such a cutie patootie. Is that they also hooked up like to sensory things like on their to measure sweat and heartbeat, because so what they found is that even if the participants didn't like realize why they were choosing what decks they were choosing, or like, how to describe this. I'm so tired. I'm trying so hard. What the fuck? So what happened was the group without the damage to their Vahamanama, they ventricle prefrontal cortex, I think it was. VMPC. No, VNPC? Ventricle! I've remembered! Ventricle prefrontal cortex. If I get that wrong, I'm gonna cry if I was wrong about that. But, the people without damage to that, they eventually figured out that, hey, these 2 decks of cards, they're high risk and high reward. So I'm gonna stick with these lower ones, so that I'm less likely to, like, lose all my money. Because it was, like, money, points, whatever. It's actually really fun. There's an online one you can do. I like to see how high I can get it and just try, or how low. I really need to clean off my desk. They eventually, their bodies figured out before they did. Just like sweat glands and stuff like that figured out. But the people with the participants with the damage to their ventricle prefrontal cortex, even if their bodies figured out, they couldn't switch into the system 2 thinking, which was the conscious one, and they continued to go for the high risk, high reward things all the way through. I'm gonna probably... So, that's the wrong thing. That's... Vivid decision-making impairments with damage to their ventromedial cloves, prefrontal cortex, VMPFCS, which has been shown to play a role in regulating behavior to a healthy control group. So it was a natural experiment, 17 healthy controls, 8 patients with lesions in the VNPFCs. So it was the Iowa gambling task paradigm. It usually takes about 20 to 30 tries before they realize the pattern. And healthy controls typically opt for the safe decks, A and C. They're able to resist the initial temptation of going for high rewards because they can see long-term bad choice. This is using System 2 thinking. The VNPFC lesion participants, however, did not demonstrate the same shift in behavior. They continued to choose from the disadvantaged decks regardless of negative consequences. And that essentially just suggests that the VMPFC plays a role in our ability to use System 2 thinking and make like conscious decisions, and if it's damaged, we may not be able to think past like initial impulses and instincts, and this could lead to bad decisions, good or bad, just decisions, being made on System 1, which is impulsive and automatic. But my evaluation of this just said ethics, because like getting these lesion patients, like what is the ethical, like is it ethical to get these lesion patients and put them in this thing, then essentially say, hey, by the way, yeah, you can't use your brain right. The generalizability, like, this is only for those patients. So, like, how is this super generalizable to the rest of the population? And then internal validity, I don't actually know why I wrote that or what, yeah. But that's one of my favorite ones. I don't really remember a lot about it a lot of the time. But I'm like, the only 2 I really remember are McGuire and Ejanskaan. I really want to remember that one. I do remember Iowa. See, here's the thing. I remember bits and pieces of most of the studies. I just don't remember names. Which is one of the reasons I'm doing this, to try and get the names down. The problem is, some are like, Loftus and Palmer number 1, Loftus Palmer number 2, Loftus Palmer number fucking 3. Like, why is there so many Loftus Palmer? I don't fucking know. Which one's this one? Darling and Gross. That was social schemas. So, that was the social schemas and perception and, like, how you see other people based on your own unconscious schema of the world. So, I'm pretty sure this is one where they took this little girl called Hannah, and they took videos of her playing in 2 different areas. 2? One was a very low-income area. The other was a high-income area. And then they had this girl take a test, okay? Same video of the test, but there's 4 groups. So of the 4, 2 groups will show low income, 2 groups will show high income. Her video of her playing. And then of those 4 groups, only 2, one from each, like one from the low income, one from the high, were shown videos of her taking the test. And then they were rated on how intelligent they thought the girl was. And so what happened was, the people who saw her, who didn't see her take the test, and of the 2 2 groups who didn't see her take the test, low income thought she wasn't super smart, high income thought she was. Alternatively, of the 2 who did watch her take the test, low income thought she was even less smart than the ones who didn't see her take the test. High income thought she was even smarter than those who didn't see her take the test but saw her playing high income. Where did I put you? Oh, that's you. Yes, I was right. It's to investigate the roles of social schemas and perception of others. Lab this year's 70 undergrads split into groups of roughly equal men and women. One group saw 4th grade child playing in urban low income. One group saw playing in suburban. One group didn't see Hannah play. Half of people... Oh, so there was 3 original groups. Okay. Half of the people in the groups watched her take a test. Some right, the girl on the test got some right, some wrong, no matter what. The low income rated her worse and thought she was wrong and was less smart. Those who saw her take the test rated higher or lower than those who didn't, depending on where they saw her play. And so the conclusion of that is social schema that participants had for people from lower, high economic backgrounds did this thing called confirmation bias and affected how they saw Hannah's actions and like how many they remembered her getting right and how many they remembered her getting wrong. Confirmation bias is essentially where you think something internally. So like, say I think all dogs poop on floors internally, right? And then I see one dog in my life poop on a fucking floor and I'm like, that's it. I'm right. I knew it. All dogs poop on the fucking floor every day just to be a bitch. Things like that. Okay, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but that's what I do. That's Darling Gross, 1983. I'm give up. I'm stopping the video.